I got a free Ditch Witch. After sitting for nearly 12 years, I've traded a little bit of work on a bulldozer for this machine. I thought it would be a great machine, just in need of a little bit of elbow grease and a $3,000 trencher chain. But after getting it home and cleaning it up a little bit, it turned out that it was much worse than I thought it would be.
And that's about exactly what we thought we would see.
So in the first video, I tore it down, figured out what we needed.
That was miserable.
And now we need to put all the pieces back together. My name's Tyler, you guys are watching Diesel, and this is Free Ditch Witch Part 2.
How does that make you feel?
So I did get a used gearbox from Maverick, $750, but we'll see. I'll tear it apart and see how it is.
Doesn't look great, but it feels pretty good actually.
Feels pretty tight. I guess I'll just have to make sure I keep oil in it. Let's go check that alignment. Ish. And that just does not line up, does it? That lines up with this, so I gotta get that pulley over somehow.
Alright, so that hub that holds that pulley on is locking. See that little split right there? So I'm thinking if I take that loose and if I push the taper, which is the pulley, off, then that should free up. And we should be able to slide that pulley right on that spline shaft to line that up real nice. Oh wow, that's not very tight at all.
What do you guys think of that? Don't look too bad. Boy. Freaking good right there. And this has got a little floater either way. So that's all the way that way. So let me tap it one more time. Hopefully we're centered up on that. That wasn't that big of a deal. I was looking at that thinking I got the wrong jack shaft or something. Boy, these are pretty beat up. 5-129X. I'm pretty sure this is the same U-joint that a tractor PTO shaft uses. Fortunately, this side's real tight clearance there, so you can't put a grease zerk in it. You gotta put a plug in it. So it's not serviceable. Sometimes they make a greasable cap. I wonder if you got Ditch Witch U-joints, if that's what it was. I guess I should have looked. There we are. Alright, I got jack shaft in. Someone torched those holes out. I'm not too thrilled with that, but I got a big thick wash on them. I guess I'll have to torque them down good. So now I'm looking at this, and that don't look right? So I'm thinking we gotta take that off. Try and bend that. So it looks like it's bent. The bearing in this feels real good though. However, I'm sure there's a grease zerk on it that I do not see. This is gonna be very hard to bend. Looks like just sealed bearings in here. Probably gonna need to get some help with this one. Because I'm gonna need some heat, some real heat. Close. I'm stumped on the chain. I'm gonna have to get an adder link, I think. I don't know why. And also down here, there's supposed to be another idler. Looks like we've never had that. So I'll try and get one of those coming too. So one other thing, I think while I've got this here, I think I want to get this cylinder touched up. The chrome is just off in a couple spots, so why not? And then if you look up here, this pin isn't even in, so I guess that'll be a good time for me to kind of take that apart. So I don't know. I'll probably try and whack it with a hammer first and see if that pin comes out. But I have a feeling a whole lot of nothing's gonna happen. I have a solution for this pin. It's a carbide tip sawzall blade. What do you guys think?
This thing's a freaking hog. I am actually shocked. It's carbide tipped, I guess, so it should be good. But wow, that is an amazing tool to have in your toolbox. Look at that. It's freaking, it actually was pulling so hard it was like bogging the freaking Sawzall. That's amazing. What a great day. What a great day. Lisa, thank you for picking that up. Yeah, quick connects on this. Because I might have it set up. Or you could put a vibratory plow on it too, if you wanted. But we'll probably never do that, so. Oh! Definitely time for a repack, and then, well, I got it apart. That's pretty deep, so I don't know if, I don't know if they'll just put a new rod on it for me. I guess maybe we could do that, but otherwise they'll probably chrome it. See that? Just goes in there. Goes right around. I don't actually hate that design, to be honest with you. It's a single packing. It's a pretty simple cylinder. Barrel looks okay. Alright, so the rod I'll take to a shop, and they'll probably grind it and re-chrome it. I mean, you could always just cut the eye off and weld the new rod on, but you have to be able to drill and tap that out, cut it to length, phase out the ends and stuff, and I just don't have a lathe here, obviously, so not worth messing with. Technically, they charge me very much to get it chromed. So in this guy, we just have 2 seals here. So the backup ring always goes on this is the O-ring. The backup ring always goes on the non-pressure side. So pressure is obviously inside here. So these you can take to like a hydraulic shop, like Zatkoff is the place in our area. So I'll just put all my seals in a bag and drop them off. Or McMaster Car has everything too. You just have to be able to look it up by the dash and size and stuff like that. So I've done both before. Take our wiper ring, or our rod seals out. This one's toast, look at that, inside there. And there's a wiper ring up here. Sometimes these are fun to get out. That just looks like a wear ring on the rod seal. So you probably don't even need to replace this, but we'll see. That's a pretty slick design there. And then
There's our 2 seals there. So I'll get this out and I'll drop that off. Get some parts coming for it. That'll probably take me a while to get everything. That's good. In the meantime, we can go back on the machine over there. And we can got some chain coming, we can do some hydraulic hoses, stuff like that. Figured out why my old chain was too short. This bearing used to be so slapped out that when they redid these spindle bearings about a year ago, we didn't use it at all. They just redid the bearings because this was one of the first things we thought was wrong with it. Then they probably took the link out of the chain and shortened it, but it was shortened too much because that bearing, this whole sprocket was probably went back by a 1/4 inch. 88 chain. Ultra. Oh, that actually looks a little heavier than the other stuff. From McMaster-Carr. Not cheap, it was like $15 a foot or something. What are you gonna do? You know? My problem just went away, just like that. It's made in Japan, the chain. Wow, 80H. Boy, can I get that on there? There. So now this has the tensioner that goes up here, obviously. And just like this. It is supposed to have an idler down here. I don't have that, so I'll probably try and find one. But for now, we're probably good to run as is. Alright, that looks perfect. Like I said, I can put an idler on there at some point. But nice tension on it. That's a nice chain. I'm impressed. McMaster-Carr always comes through for me. Alright, so we've always had kind of an issue with this Ditch Witch. The whole drivetrain, powertrain goes right through this shift collar right here. You can see when I pull this lever forward, it shifts that collar forward. And then that locks in our drive shaft from our transmission with the sprocket. This sprocket turns the transfer case, which gives power to the front and rear wheels. So that's like drive mode or transport mode, whatever you want to call it. And then when you put it into crowd mode, you shift this back. And this is where part of the issue is. And then that takes the power from the transmission. This idles right here, this drive to our transfer case, and it locks that power with your transmission into your belt drive, gearbox, and your appliance out back, right? So I got to make sure I get this right, because if I don't, then before what had happened was like we had kind of stripped out the splines a little bit on the front, where I'll show you guys that quick. This is our old jack shaft, and that's the back side splines. And the front side splines don't look great, but they don't look bad. But so I want to make sure I get that right. The other issue that we would have is when you're backfilling with it or something, you're using a load in the transport, like in first gear. Sometimes it would just pop out of gear, and that was pretty frustrating. It would make a big grinding noise. We don't really want that either. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, trying to get that shifting down. I know it's just worn out and slopped out, but we got to get it right. So if this was loose in there, see that? That's not helping us. That's bushed in there, that's just kind of the way she is. So we'll see if we can work past that. But one thing I did notice was looking back at the film, we're supposed to have an additional spacer up here. So I might be able to just kind of set that where I want it with that set screw. I like that. So we should be good there. I will put one more set screw down there. I'll make sure everything else is tight and home, but I think that looks a lot better. I don't want this thing popping out of gear anymore. Wow, this thing's is nice. Probably need one more friction washer on the front. Because if you look, see that washer spins on there? I probably should put a friction washer and another washer like the back. So I'll do that. So we're starting to shape up pretty good. I still got to bend that belt tensioner. I don't have torches here, so I got to get that. Got the hydraulic cylinder rod out for chrome. We'll wait for that to come back. Have to rebuild the gearbox. I guess we could get into that right now. And then I've got just a weld I gotta do here, but I'm trying to button up all the hard stuff back here. Because once I get that done, I'll just have like rims I gotta clean up, changing fluids and stuff. But this has been a slog, kind of getting through this. So I guess, sitting with you guys here now, I think I got everything. Let's get going on that gearbox and try and get that thing together, because that's probably the biggest task we have left. First I gotta clean everything. That's why I haven't done this yet. It's covered in whatever gunk was inside this gearbox. Some sort of wannabe oil and water mixture. So I'll do that and I'll meet you guys back in like 3 different ice ages when it's done. Because I don't really have a good parts washer. Alright, everything is marginally clean. I gotta remind myself I'm just doing a low-speed gearbox on a Ditch Witch. So we can put some bearing cones on here. So each one had a shim, which could be a little bit important. 18690. So I'm thinking what I should do is I should get these a little warm, and then hopefully they'll drop right over. Ideally like hot oil or a lot of different ways. Put them in the oven, whatever. Yeah, I must move. Dang it. I don't know why I thought that would work. That blew up in my face. I mean, it helps, but I need like a tube that fits over that bearing so that once you get it on, you can just hammer it home real quick. So I guess I got to work on finding something that'll fit over that nicely. There. All right. So that's done. I'll go ahead and do 2 more on here. And I believe after that, we need to start to put our shafts in here and put this together. But this is going to be a little bit tricky because we need to get our preload right on all the bearings. So I'm going to think on that while I put a couple bearings up here. For the record, this one went much, much easier. I got some nicer gasket material for McMaster car because what was in this was, I believe, a 64th thick. We can measure it, and that's going to matter when it comes to the preload of our bearings. So I'll finish making this gasket, And then we can talk about how we're going to set that up. I'm still going to put RTV on this just because me and everyone watching this video has been scarred from, oh, I made a nice gasket, to, oh, wow, it still leaks. What the heck? Okay. So this gasket is not only of importance for stopping the oil from leaking, out of the case, but also for what we call our preload on our bearings. So we've got 2 shafts in here, and both shafts are supported by a set of tapered roller bearings. These bearings are pretty awesome, but you got to make sure you set them up correctly. So if you look at this, it's tapered roller bearing because it's essentially 2 cones, and the cones are always put on opposite ways like this. So the position of my bearing and race set actually is of importance to how much play that this has. If I put my cones out here, you see my bearing has no support. If I put my cones in real tight, my bearing has full support. And obviously I'm blowing that out of proportion just for you guys to see, but this matters on a micro level as well. So the harder I pull in, we call that the preload, the more preload I put on my bearings, the harder this shaft is going to be to turn. So what actually happens is you push down on these rollers, and as these rollers turn, that face right there, the face of the roller is making contact with that little L-shaped lip on the inner bearing race. So the manufacturers, what they say is they want, probably some sort of preload or some sort of force, on these, keeping them together. The reason why that's important is because if you don't have any force on there, this is going to be up, and these rollers are going to skid instead of roll. And then that's when they'll start to get hot. They could, gall the metal together and things like that. So what sets the preload in this is the distance between the 2 bearing cups. The 2 bearing cups are set by the bearing cup retainers that go in this. So the machining of this is critical. The machining of the other half is critical in those bearing cups. The distance of this is critical. But what we do to make up for all that, because we have variances in bearings, machining, and things like that, is we shim it, we call it. So this gasket is actually a shim, and it's going to space those 2 halves, which in turn space this apart and set them out. So if we're too far apart, we won't have any preload and our bearings could skid. If we're too tight together, this shaft will struggle to turn. Kind of difficult because I don't have mismatched shims that I can put in or do any of this. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to throw it together. And then if we have to, it doesn't matter where you put the shims in this case. So we can actually make up, if we need to shim it, we can make it up with the shims on these outer faces right here. So all we need to do is put this gear in here, and then I'll put some RTV on everything, and we can kind of start to put this case together. This guy up here, this guy can just slide right in the hole. Obviously the other one's too big for that. I will say, I don't want to call this a hack job, but we never do this in assembly. In, automotive world, I've never seen a gasket in RTV, but for some reason, for backyard mechanics, this is the standard. All right. So now we gotta start building up these covers. So we gotta cut 4 gaskets, and that would be a pain in the butt to do by hand. So let's see, I might be able to rig something up a little better to cut these gaskets out fast and precise. It's interesting. Like, what way is it out? So I'm just gonna set this side up normal, and then we'll flip it. And we'll be a little more concerned about our bearings then, because we really only need to shim one side if we need to shim it. So I have a little laser cutter. It's like a $250 unit. I bought it to engrave way back in the day. And I actually just catted these up and then use that to cut the gaskets out. It works real good if you have something you can draw easily, but in a lot of cases like this you don't, so don't even try it then, you know. So this guy's resting nice here on the bearing. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're just gonna throw this side together dry, if I can get the seal on. So it looks like we've already got like space here, and we're kind of already down. Our bearings are against each other, right? So I'll torque this guy down, and then we'll see how tight it gets. I'm not worried about like too much preload. I am worried about end play, but obviously there's a limit to how much preload we want to. Boy, wow, that is amazing. That feels perfect. That feels perfect. I have a nice preload on that. Definitely no end play. So I'm gonna pop this back off. I'm gonna RTV it up, and then we're gonna leave it at that. Then we will set this shaft in, and we will do the exact same thing. Man, that's so much end play. I don't think we're gonna get that out of there. So the question is now, how much do you need to take off? Well, you could just go until you get something, or what we can do is we can check our end play, we'll call it. We'll put our dial indicator on here, and this measures in thousandths. So looks like I have 6.5 thou end play. What do you guys think? And then if we look, how thick is our gasket here? Be very hard. Our gasket is, oh, maybe 6.5 thou. So let's take this apart, take that gasket out, and then we'll see what our end play is. So this did have gaskets in all 4 spots when I put it together. And if the question is what changed was the bearings. Pretty simple. Not all bearings are made the same, especially not all, like the 4 that I got are probably pretty close, but the fact that this happened over the course of, you know, I don't know how old this machine is. Just stuff changes, guys.
That's nice. All right, so I got it all back together. I'm gonna put this is a shift spline collar for the hydraulic pump, if you guys remember. And then the hydraulic pump mounts on that face down there. Put our sprocket on for our drive from our engine. This is the drive out to the rear axle. This is kind of what mounts on the gearbox. Then that's the drive for the front axle. This is supported on that shaft down there. Couldn't find a new bearing for this. Kind of a bummer, but it's not too bad. So we'll see how it goes. I think it just stops the whole transfer case from working side to side because this is the only mount on the Ditch Witch for that. So I ordered a new brake disc because if you guys look, that's conical, and that actually goes. I said conical, not comical. That actually goes like right here, in between the transfer case and the rear axle. So we gotta wait until we get brake parts to put that on. But in the meantime, we can put our belt tensioner back on, can rebuild our front drive shaft, keep working on the hydraulic cylinder. What else? We got all kinds of stuff. And I believe once we get the belt tensioner back in, there's no reason we can't put our fuel tank back in, run our fuel lines, and maybe start the engine up. Oh boy, that looks a lot better. That looks pretty good though. If you look, just look at the horizon of this pulley here. So I bring you up, see she's a little off. You can see there's more of the lower pulley showing on this side. That's pretty close, I think. Definitely a lot better than it was. I think what I'd have to do is rebush that, but I don't know. It ran okay before and it was way off, so we'll see. That sucker seizes in there so bad. I'm gonna leave everything right here. I guess it's gonna be more of a fight than I thought it was gonna be. Mom's working at 12 today though. It's time to wake up from this nap, so I'll be back. It's not over. Is it somewhat comical that anyone else that getting this pin out would be the most difficult part of rebuilding this hydraulic cylinder?
Some guys mount a 12-point buck on their wall. We're gonna mount this pin up there. All right, so the barrel looks good. I don't see any scratches or anything in there that would stop me from running it. Got my piston and everything cleaned up, and then seals I just got from McMaster. So I think the piston seal is a 8334 is the backup ring. Then I have the main ring. This is the actual piston seal for it. And then this is the rod wiper seal. So if you guys are ever rebuilding cylinders, you know, like sometimes I'll go to Zach Hoff, but the guy there is just like, you know, they don't really want to deal with me buying like 1 or 2 O-rings. So you can just take a pair of calipers, go online, and just get everything from McMaster. The only con is like I had to order a pack of 50 for these, but everything else they just had in one piece. So, but I'm still waiting on the rod. So we got to get that eyelet re-rotted before we finish rebuilding that cylinder. All right, so this right here is like a junction block. So pressure from the pump comes to this side, and there's a couple taps in return for our power steering, since that's just all hydraulic. And then pressure comes out of here and goes back to our valve body here, and that's where the rest of our hydraulics are. So this had always just been flopping here. I want to try and mount it up. And I think the reason it was flopping here is because maybe the hydraulic hoses that were going to and from this were too short, A, and B, kind of routed wrong, so that's okay, we'll redo that. The hoses are destroyed, so I should probably get some new ones anyways. It's hard, like if I replaced all the hoses on this thing, I could easily get into like probably $2,000, but I need to replace some of the bad ones. It's a constant balance. You don't want to just stick a bunch of money into a machine you haven't worked yet, but if I take this on a job somewhere and it blows like a main pressure line like that, that'd be kind of embarrassing and a little bit of a bummer. So you got to have like a certain level, a certain standard of equipment before you can work on other people's property with it. I'm not exactly sure. I don't think they shipped it like this. I'm not exactly sure where it went, but I see one hole right here. It looks like if I bolt it up to that hole, that'll be nice. And that hole's a little slopped out, and it's hard to get a nut on the back, so I think I'm just gonna throw a 1/4-inch rib nut in there. The frame on this beast looks pretty good overall, but there's a crack on either side of where that cross member that mounts our kind of main jack shaft to the frame. So let's clean that up and weld that quick. Got them both cleaned up. But man, there's a lot of oil and stuff around here, and then the main frame rails on both sides, they use as an oil tank. So guess I'll keep the fire extinguisher close by, I don't know. I think welder Jason will be very disappointed in me. But it's like a farmer fix, I guess. I don't know. There, beautiful. All right, so for those 2 lines on the blade, remember, these were hard lines way back in the day. But everything on this Ditch Witch is all just NPT male to female. So if you look, like this is a typical NPT fitting, NPT thread. But for hydraulics, they did it 2 ways kind of. It's kind of cool. So you can either put pipe dope on here and seal into like a regular nipple, or that inside face is chamfered. So then you can just get an NPT female fitting, and then it's got the matching chamfer and threads in there. So super easy to work on interchange. And why this is important is because it's really easy to find these fittings on pre-made hoses, and McMaster has like everything you need basically. So that's all I've been doing for this, is just ordering pre-made hoses from McMaster. So my dad was down the other day and he replaced that for us, which is pretty nice. That's been leaking. He put a nice piece of hose on there. And he started to run these hydraulic lines, and he said, probably a little short. So we'll see. Boy, he's right. It is like a foot short. Someone wired up like a straight on starter switch bypassing the starter solenoid. I'm guessing the starter solenoid's bad. But the problem is when I want to start it, if I want to push in the clutch and hit the switch, I got to bring both legs over and do that. So I'm going to take this off, and we should be able to hook. Well, it looks like we're going to have to get a new one, but we should be able to get a starter switch in there. Figure that out. So let's cut that off first and put the wiring back the way it was. There. Clean you two up together. You guys are gonna buy one of these blades before the end of the video. So looking at the solenoid, there's only one wire here, so I'm guessing what it does is it takes battery power that runs through that switch. That switch brings battery power back to this terminal, and it must just ground out through the body of the solenoid. So you got nothing. Let's push. So that switch is working. See, open line. Push the switch, 0 ohms. So now it's a question of whether or not our starter solenoid works, but we got to put a battery in to check that. All I have around is this little lithium battery, but if I can get it hooked up, it might actually do the trick. I know my battery connections are impeccable, but we're getting nothing. I'm not surprised. I'm sure that the switch was put on for some reason. So we will get a new starter solenoid in order. It should just be a standard 12-volt solenoid. I'm sure I can find one easily. All right, this looks kind of crappy. It's just been hanging out there. I know this isn't the way it's supposed to be or the right plug wires. So we got top right goes to right side back, and goes around to this one. Bottom right goes to right side front, and we got the next one. Bottom left goes to left side front, and then top left goes to left side rear. I'm saying all that stuff so that I don't forget myself.
Honestly, don't look too bad.
Just kind of funny. So we had a K13, a UD16, a UD16, and a D2L. So now she's got 4 like spark plugs in her. And we're honing in on her. I'm kind of waiting for some additional parts and stuff. I just talked to the guys at Maverick. They're going to send me some brake parts. Check out that master cylinder. I believe it's just been open to the elements for who knows how long. And then a brake disc because ours is warped. And I believe a new caliper setup too because the one we have is pretty outdated. So, I don't know. I'm kind of waiting. I think one thing I'll do is just clean up where the tank's going to sit. And then maybe clean up the tank too because that was kind of rusty. Just the way that's designed there. You know, stuff just falls down in there and that rust out, but we don't want our tank to rust out or anything. Other than that, we should have a haul of hydraulic parts and trencher parts coming in the next couple of days. And that honestly is going to be about it for the main thing. Just a little bit of, plug wires, make sure it's wired up good. So I'll clean that up. I'll keep cleaning those rims up. And when we get some parts, we'll get back at her. One of them cleaned up. I think this is the worst one too. I think this was the worst one too, but it looks all right. We'll clean the other up and then get some paint on them. Let me know in the comments. Tires are I can probably get a tire for like $250 for this. 200, 250. So should I put the old tires back on and get new tubes for them? Even though you guys saw those things are tooched. Or should we just get 2 new tires for it? Let me know what you guys think. All right, so 3 things. Finally got some winter. It's been maybe like a high of 10 the last few days.
It's kind of nice. I don't mind it. Mini split is my only heat in the garage. If you guys ever get a mini split and you live in the cold, I could have gotten like the LG red or whatever. They make an option that will heat down lower. Definitely get that. I got the cheap one and it keeps up just fine. But this cold, nothing to mess with, right? So if you can do that, definitely get the coldest option. Number 2, we got a super wet, heavy snow, and it would have been really cool to use a Ditch Witch to plow the snow like my dad did last year, but she's not done. So it's January 16th. I think in real time, I'm actually probably just a week, 10 days away from getting this thing back to where I could plow with it. So fingers crossed we get another snow. Number 3. It's getting snug in here, guys. Oh, never mind. I had probably 6 inches to spare. Lisa, if you're watching this, thank you for being patient with me and letting me do what I do. Everyone else who's watching this, make sure you guys tell Lisa how much you appreciate her, because if she wasn't so patient, our garage wouldn't be 95% YouTube projects and 5% Lisa's Jeep. To be straight with you guys, she did park it outside on the coldest day. And then yesterday I finally got the stuff together and got it back in. So thanks, Lisa. The flood of parts started. Bunch of anti-spatter on this. Rod looks pretty good for a farmer job. Minimal scratching, I would say. Definitely not none, but better than it was. So, should be able to throw this guy together. Looks like it's in the 200 range. That was only 150. Oh, well, I guess we can put this on quick. It'll take 2 seconds. Actually, famous last words. You find that groove, and I believe what you want. So you want to tighten it, maybe. Completely rebuilt cylinder. I put that on there just because I didn't want this gland to slide up because the chrome's a little damaged up here, but we should be good now because it'll bottom out. See? Sweet. On to the next thing. Fighting for my life. Gotta get a pin for that. No way. They had a blind pin in there and they just had that set screw lock it down. So we'll see. I kind of want to get the cylinder in here and see, because I might be able to just get 2 locking collars on there too. Which might be kind of nice. So. But it looks pretty good. No more giant gouge in the chrome there. It's like a 0% chance of this happening. Wow. Sweet. It's my lucky day. Oh, it was only in there a little bit. Oh, come on. Oh, I swear, the freaking bolts you buy these days are some sort of terrible version of a grade 5. You're telling me I can break a grade 5 bolt with that 3/8 bolt? What a freaking joke. I used to work at the plant that made these fittings. Mason, Michigan. Oh. Oh. Yeah. Alright, I think I got the hydraulic lines done. Got the one for the blade. Had to run those up along here. Got the 2 main lines. Alright, I'm back up there. Got the 2 for the blade. There's obviously still a lot of older lines, but I could dump
Honestly, probably another $1,000 in hydraulic lines in this. I just can't do that right now. The ones I was kind of had off, I figured I'd replace them, but I did probably take it too far. So the hydraulic system's done. The cylinder looks good with the new rod. These cylinders up front, there's a lift cylinder in here that probably needs to be redone, although we can't really see anything on that. That power steering cylinder probably needs to be resealed. And then these two up here are just like a greasy mess. But we'll run it. I mean, I don't think I see anything that stops me from running it. And they all look honestly really super easy to get off. So why don't we finish up the engine now? We have plug wires, a solenoid, and an alternator to finish up. So I got these from someplace I don't remember, but made in the USA. So I sure as heck don't. They had an option for electronic ignitions as well. So we got that because this has an electronic ignition. We upgraded it, if you guys remember my dad did. These are. Okay, so you guys can check me. Top right, right side back, bottom right, right side front, bottom left, goes to left side front, and top left goes to left side rear. I guess we'll see if it runs. Let me know in the comments. Now, if this isn't the cutest little belt you ever did see, I don't know what magazines you're looking at. 2 inches too short. It's kind of hard to find a non-crappy solenoid, but I got a standard one from Rock Auto. I'll be darned. Looks like an exact fit. There's a nut on the back of that. I'm saying I might not want to know what I'm gonna find under there. Look at those giant air-cooled jugs. The concern with the stuff in the cooling shrouds here is not that it won't cool properly. I mean, this thing's rarely will get hot. It's that stuff could catch on fire. And then if you have a fire under your engine where you can't get to it, basically kiss your machine goodbye. So I guess it's a good thing I took this off. So then this one is a 4-wire. You guys can probably see. There's 2 terminals. So they give you this little deal. One of those is just a ground. So it says if original has 3 terminals, do not use this terminal. They're pointing at the one on the left. So it'll ground allegedly through the solenoid body, but if we have any issues with that, we'll just run a separate ground. Which I'm kind of wondering now if that's why the other one didn't work. I don't know. Another snow and the Ditch Witch still isn't ready. I guess it's time to shovel. Oh, jeez. Are you kidding me? Oh, there we go. We will not put those back in. Wow. Double mouse nest, maybe? Close. I had a 18-inch belt before. I got a 20-inch belt now. Alright, I think the engine should be good to go. Got the ignition system all tuned up. Got a new fuel pump, new fuel line the whole way. Carburetor's been rebuilt. We checked the shrouds, cleaned that out. Got an alternator. I still gotta figure out where that one wire goes. But I'm thinking it's just a 1-wire alternator. So we should be good on there. We need to do air filter change and oil filter change, but I want to start it up and we'll run it a little bit before we change all the fluids and everything. So really, I think we just got to finish the drivetrain up. We can drop that gearbox in and hook up the front drive shaft and the crowd control and everything. And I think we'll be off to the races minus some tires and the boom. So much that I've been putting off going under there, I guess we should probably get that gearbox in there, huh? This might be impossible to lift it up by hand. Hey GoPro, stop recording. I think it's in. Oh, beautiful.
There we go. I can't really get to those 4 bolts. I think I was supposed to put the hydraulic motor on this housing first and then put the housing in. I'm not too happy about that right now because I don't want to take it all apart. If you look at the bottom, that's even worse, trying to get the one up from the bottom. All right, I got the drivetrain and the gearbox all in. That was a royal pain in the butt. So now we gotta put our drive chain on. This connects our transmission drive down to our gearbox. So this thing has a little bit of a chain tightener up top. So you can slide it all one way and then that'll be tight, and then you move it that way as your chain loosens. So like right there would be over, I believe. Yeah, that's over all the way. Everything still works. I got some heavy roller from the master. I think we'll save that part and use it. I'm not really sure. Alright, so I'll have to get a half link for this, probably from a master car, because that's a pretty nice chain. I don't want to put a crappy link on there and have issues. So we're getting pretty close. The drivetrain is done, except for that chain, and I got to replace the U-joints on the drive shaft, but I still cannot get that yoke off. So I don't know, I might need to go to a buddy's or something with some torches, heat that up real hot and get that off. I just don't quite have the tools here. Other than that, she's shaping up pretty good. Transfer case looks good, whatever else. So we need to do the gas tank so that we can hook the fuel line up and run the engine, and then we need to put our brake parts on. So let's mount those brake parts quick. That shouldn't be too bad, and then I'll just have to get a line to put everything on. Alright, so this is the original caliper setup. Kind of odd. It's like a one-piece brake pad even, but that thing is totally just blown out, I believe. So they sent me this, Maverick did, but this is just a one-piece caliper bracket, and this is like a 2. And if you look up there on the frame, I just have one bracket, so I'll have to call him and talk to him and see what to do about that. I'm really not sure. So I guess we're not working on brakes right now.
What do you want to say to the YouTube viewers?
Please don't. No one needs to see this. Alright, I'm leaving.
Alright. Eighth inch. That looks pretty nice. So now I've got the rims kind of ready for paint. I've rust converted them, just gotta wash them down. Then I cleaned up the seat pan and the seat back. So let's paint those up, and then we'll get this thing back on some tires and get a seat on it. That's kind of the next thing while we're waiting on that chain link. Much. Alright, so my system is needle scale, probably rust convert sometimes, depends on how bad it is. Definitely looks a lot better on the rims. And then wash with Zep Purple Degreaser. And then I Scotch-Brite it again just to make sure the surface is good. And then I wipe it down with thinner one more time. So these are not perfect. This is not a Ford tractor restoration job though. But I do always kind of aim for a better than factory paint job, because you know in the factory they just slather the enamel on it. They don't really do any prep work. So let's spray. We're just going to spray some enamel primer today, Rust-Oleum, and then some enamel over it. Sometimes I'll spray epoxy, but that's tricky with the recoat time and stuff, so. All right, it's halftime of the NFC Championship. Obviously, you guys know I'm from Michigan. I mean, I'm a Lions fan. I'm not like the diehard Lions fan, but I've had a lot of hurt in my life. So Lions are up 24-7. I have no idea what'll happen, but you guys watching this will know. So it's kind of funny. I just got like a Rust-Oleum almond color, it's called. I couldn't actually find like Ditch Witch colors. It looks like it might be kind of hard. So we'll see if that works. I don't know. I guess if I paint it someday, which I wouldn't mind too, I'll have to try and actually talk to a dealer. But anyways, let's shoot this almond. I'm just spraying the faces of the rim, not the middle. No reason to. This thing's eating a lot of paint today. To me, it looks a little too white, but I don't know. It might be close. It's hard to say what the actual Ditch Witch colors are, but cool. The only problem is that I'm only doing 2 rims and tires, not 4. But whatever. All right, let that dry for a couple days. We'll come back and work on something else. I don't want to talk about it. Rims look good. So I'm actually going to get 2 new tires for this. I think they're like 207 a piece. And then at the end of the video, I'll total up how much I have into this thing, because it's a free Ditch Witch. It's probably going to be about, I'll bet it's close to $5,000 I'll have into this thing. Getting it to a point where I think it's good enough to use, and then we'll see. Basically, I want to get it, it's got to prove to me that it's going to be a good machine before I put any more money into it, like the other 2 tires or something like that, right? So, then maybe I will get a can of Ditch Witch Orange for that. So, we're really looking pretty good. I got the hood back on her. There's the tire guy. We still have to do drive shaft and the link for the drivetrain. Other than that, some fluid changes. One thing that's been bothering me with this is I don't know if the fisheye lens will show it, but the blade's kind of bent, so you can see the bottom. It looks like people are just pushing on it. So looks like just 2 bolts. We can take it off, and then we also don't have a cutting edge on it, and that cardboard standing up is a cutting edge I ordered. So let's see if we can get this blade off. This is gonna be fun. Oh boy. Oh wow. That's some wet, heavy snow. I'm over that for the year. So this is interesting to me. Why is there only 1 pin on here? That doesn't make any sense. So I guess what I'll do is try and drive this one back in. I coined her over just a little bit, but it's actually hard enough to break my chisel at that point, but it's good enough. It's not going to go anywhere. Great. How does stuff like that happen? Our drivetrain is now done. Neutral, drive, trench. Cool. So now, the only other thing we have to do on the drivetrain is that front drive shaft, and I got that busted apart, so let's put that together quick.
Hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, I painted those. Finally got some help. And wants to go inside in 3, 2, 1. Wait, that isn't gonna go in easy, is it?
Yeah, I'm happy with that right there. All right, I'm gonna put some bolts in, and this drivetrain is donezo. All right, it's been like 2 days actually. Let's see if that PB blaster does anything. There. Got the full court press on her. I'm starting to pull the table a little bit there, but I know it's just gonna go back. If I could heat it, I think it would go, but I don't have torches. There's a little bit of a pop right there, so I don't know. Maybe what I should do is just clean it up, weld the cutting edge on, and then I think if I set the blade, if I set it on a couple logs, set the blade from the TD20 or even the TD8 or something on it, that might straighten it kind of nice. It's a bugger. But I guess I'll clean it up and weld the cutting edge on. That doesn't really matter. So I just ordered like a blade cutting edge online. I think it was Des Moines Steel Company. I thought it was a little harder grade than just A36, but it just looks like hot rolled. So we'll see. I hope it's a little bit better, because I could have put a piece of cold roll on it myself. All right, seeing it on the machine makes me feel a little bit better. All right, I got one tire on. And these things are hard. They're like wrestling with a bear. They're just like 8-ply, real short and stout. I think I got it. I'm not running tubes. I'm a little bit worried about the bead sealing on the rim, just because it's painted nice, but you can tell there's just like still corrosion, so. Fought with it, okay, whatever, fine. Don't think it's leaking. Looking good. Looks nice, right? And the V-tread is perfect for the right side of the machine, but we need tires for the left side. So I think what I might do is just put 2 new tires on the back or the left side or the right side or something, and then just, I'm so mad right now. Literally probably an hour worth of work to get that, and if I take it off, I know I'm just going to destroy the rim. So it's honestly easier to do like bigger tires. These things are so 8-ply and stout. When you get down here, you like can't compress it to get underneath. These things are legit horrible. I should have paid the guys
to do it, but I thought, nah, I'm a young man, I can do it. Yeah, right. They did give me some nice valve stems, so look at these things. Brass. Alright, so this is the one I put on backwards. Let's just see. If it's gonna play nice, we'll flip it. If not, we'll still flip it. Good. Wow, look at that. Just sitting on the wheels for the first time in probably 2 months at least, maybe 3. So I think we are down to, got to put hydraulic oil in it, put gas in it, start it, warm it up, change the fluids in, maybe the axles, definitely the transmission, put oil in the gearbox that we rebuilt, and then we got to change the fluids in the chain trencher gearbox. We got to grease it, we got to mount a battery, and we have to change engine oil and filter and hydraulic filter. I'm not sure if I said that. And then we gotta either put on a seat or figure out a seat pad. So let's put some fluids in it and fire it up and just see how it runs since we did some work to it. 1768. Oh boy. Why did you tighten it so tight? Nope. Wow. Yep. This is always so hard. Yeah, it's about here. I'm sure it'll go down, but we can start her first. And maybe should have put gear oil in this case before I threw it in. Oh, it's a hex. Dang it. Well, let's just do this side. You're not full, I guarantee you that. Alright, this had an hour meter on it, but I tried to hook this one up and it won't work, so I have this one out of the 977 at the yard that's kind of slowly getting scrapped, so let's try and throw this in and see if it's nice. Should give us some relative hours. The connections are different though. And I already put on new terminals for the old ones, so that's kind of a bummer. You get like a quality lighter, like a Zippo or something. Alright. So I already wired the red wire, going back to the hour meter. It just comes off the coil because that's where our switch power goes to. So now when we turn the switch on, it's probably not going to work. Oh, there it goes. Alright, so now we will have a way to track not our total hours on the machine, although funny enough, that's probably pretty accurate for this machine. We'll just have a good way to track like oil changes. When we go to a job, we'll be able to see how many hours we put on the machine. And then I can kind of mentally like learn, okay, this is what I need to be charging and things like that. So good. The other hole is for an amp meter. The tank is not really above the carburetor. We have a little primer on there, so I'm going to prime the fuel system up. As much as we all thought everything was going to go perfect and nothing was going to go wrong, turn the gas on, prime the system, and we have a leak at the carb. So I did adjust that float, if you guys remember, so let's take that off once again and see if maybe I got the adjustment a little bit wrong. I'm not really sure what's going on here. My float doesn't have a leak in it. There's no water or anything in it. If I just flip it up, can't blow in there. If I flip it down, let the float open, I can blow in there. So it's a little bit disheartening. So let's just see. Let's double check it this way with the float pole on. Cannot blow into it. Can blow into it. Cannot blow into it. Can blow into it. I don't know, guys. Don't know what's going on. Alright, so let's just make sure. Oh, yep, we're getting good fuel flow. Alright, I hope that's fixed. Carburetors are just finicky, you guys know that. Let's fire it up. Hopefully, it fires right up and everything sounds and works great. Realistically, that's not gonna happen. Oh, this clutch is still stiff. Off to a good start. It's like worst case scenario. Because the kid's napping. I never did check the air filter. It just don't sound like it's running on all 4 cylinders, which isn't cool. See that? Yeah, that's dead cold. It's also dead cold. Huh. I don't think there's any way I have these on backwards. Let's start up again and see. So check this out. It's just sticky. I feel like the weights should be holding it one way or the other. I do not think it's a carb issue. Oh, it could be a carb issue. Huh. Why is that sticky? A diesel would never. Just want to say that. Feels better. Tuning. Alright, so alternator spinning. This ammeter could be junk. Let's check our voltage quick. Alright, I still can't get it to charge. So I'm gonna have to think on that one for a while. That's kind of a pain in the butt. I don't know, frustrated because I'll probably have to take the alternator off and like take it in or something. I don't freaking know. Anyways, other than that, it seems good. The steering's a little wanky. The front tie rods are kind of, you know, still probably could use a little bit, but I think we're in a position now where what we should do is if we get some snow, we'll plow some snow with it. That'll let us drive it around a little bit. And then that would also give us a chance to warm up the transmission and the gearbox underneath that we replaced for the trencher. Once we get those warm, we can drain the fluid and chase those. Got to change the engine oil, grease it up, but we're looking pretty good. So let's hope for some snow so we can give her a little workout. In the meantime, I should get the trencher because we could put that guy on too. There's no good place to drain this. You have to drain that right on top of the axle. You can't even get a drain plug under it, so. But this pump sucks, it's slow. It was bothering me. So I snuck in there and took the plug out, and I'd say probably about a quart of oil came out, so. I just can't get down there with the pump. So I think the way it was originally designed was there was like a little valve in there, maybe with a drain hose. So next time we change the oil, maybe we'll do something like that. But for now, it's just probably a 1/2-inch pipe plug, it looks like. Look, more oil. It's a very weird filter. It's a bypass filter, and I believe it's at the end of the channel. So this is kind of what sets your oil pressure in the engine. So that's why it has super small holes. I believe it says 5 quarts, and this is a 2.5 gallon jug with no indicators on the side. looks good. I checked the wiring diagram, and this is right, so let me just take this off and probe around and make sure I don't have anything obvious I'm missing. Alright, so I fixed my crappy connections, my crappy cables. So now I got 12 volts at the alternator. So start it up again and see if it's going to charge this time. A day after. Not good. I'm gonna drain the transmission fluid on this, took the fill plug out, and look at that. Nice and milky. Oh. So I guess a good thing we're gonna replace this. Gross. Of course. I think all the gross fluid drained out. Technically, I probably should flush it, but we'll run her for a while. You can see the oil there, it's like 3.5. So the only other fluid to change is that right angle drive that we had to replace. And we will do that in a little bit. But right now we have this. Part numbered alternator that hopefully is what we need. So back here we have AC tap or negative, which should be through the case. I'm not sure. I'm guessing this is switched power. And then this should just be our hot tap, I think. That should be all we need. That belt is just, that's all right. If it charges, then maybe what I can do is just machine that down. Looks like maybe a 1/4 inch or something. And move the whole thing that way. All right, I got my Excite wire. Got her wired back. I hooked the ammeter back up because I think the issue we were having was alternator. So let's fire it up. Hopefully it charges and we can put this to bed. RPMs before. See that? 13.6. I can hear it whining a little bit too. See that? Just a little bit. Now I am satisfied. Alright, So I took the air filter off, and can anyone tell me what that is? Looks like seeds. I don't think it's mouse poop. It says 7/1 of 99, 160 hours. So it looks good, honestly. It's pretty clean. I'm probably gonna run it, but it's just funny, like what was going on in this thing at 160 hours in 7/199, and I don't know. Maybe I do just need to get a new one. I guess it's kind of gross. Wow, look at that baby. That is sweet. Nice seal up top. I blew some air through this. Everything looks fine. You know. What I mean by that is it's flowing. Oh, wow. They give you a nice new washer too. Amazing. So if it's still running rough because the air filter's hooked up, then I don't really know what's going on. I guess it could be my inlet up here. So the float bowl was leaking out of the petcock here, so my whole garage smells like gas. It's like the last 3% wiring, charging, fuel system, all that stuff on a project like this is just what makes it the worst. So unfortunately, if you look on here, this says Till Watson or something, Toledo, Ohio, made in the USA. Probably a cool old piece, and I was able to find gaskets for it, but this little guy here, there's a packing nut on it, or maybe just a seal, a couple seals, yada, yada, yada. It's not serviceable. I can't get it apart unless I want to drill that out and redo that, so probably time to put a cheapo China float bowl on it, but this is kind of cool. Check out that little guy in there. I'm not sure. Must have crawled in the tank or something and slammed out the bottom. So let's get a new float bowl coming. So interestingly enough, there's no drain plug on the bottom. That's the closest one on the side there. So I guess maybe we just pump the fluid out of one of these? I don't freaking know. So, minimal oil, good thing I checked that. So the book actually calls for ATF in there. I'm not really sure if I want to run ATF or like 80-90 gear lube. Let me know in the comments what I should run on there long term. To me, it seems like a thicker gear lube would do better, but maybe not. So I think since there's really not that much oil in there, I think maybe what I'll do is I'll start putting some fluid through it, and then it'll eventually come out that drain plug or the level plug, and then it'll push anything else out. We'll just kind of flush it. There she is coming out. And that looks clean, so they must have drained it before they sent it to me. Stupid as it sounds, I dodged a bullet there. So tragic news. I could not find anywhere a sediment bowl for 1/4 inch NPT. They were all 3/8. That's what like the Ford tractors are. So we're gonna have to do away with the sediment bowl. Ooh. And go with a regular old ball valve deal. So it doesn't make me feel too great. So now we need a fuel filter because we lost our sediment bowl. And all I have on me is these. So I hope they flow enough fuel, but they're pretty tiny. So we will see. But at least at this point it should be done leaking gas all over my garage. Is it filling up? Not really. Man, this is gonna be a plush seat. Maybe too nice. We should probably get on the floor. Yeah, am I right? Okay, don't eat that. I don't even know what that is. Kids. Anyways. Man. Hey, Luke. What are you doing, you silly? Who gave you that? Look at you. Your mom is not going to know this is how dirty you are until she watches this video. Alright, I'm going to do the bottom seat cushion. Alright. This one turned out much nicer. Put the wrong side on the front though. Whoops. Now that is cool. That looks like the original
Ditch Witch seat, how she came from the factory. Kind of uncomfortable and hard as a rock, but wouldn't have it any other way.
All right, so I finally got the rest of the parts for the Ditch Witch. We went up last weekend and tried to start that Fordson, and I got everything. So we've got our main boom there, this guy right here, and then this is just kind of like a chaser, and then our auger too. So it shouldn't be a bad job. Let's get right into it. Gotta knock this thing out. So the first thing is the sprocket. This one honestly doesn't look bad, but I got a new one, so might as well replace it. Oops. All right, now I'm thinking we should put the boom on. I believe there's like a hydraulic grease cylinder in here, just like there would be in a dozer track. And that's what sets the adjustment on our chain. So we at least got to push it in, but I think maybe we should do that first. I'll pop this grease zerk out. So that's just a stopper bolt for that. Oh, dang. You guys see that? Nuts. I cannot get this thing out. I got the tail end of it to collapse a little bit, but this hasn't moved at all. So I'm thinking maybe if I put it on the Ditch Witch and try and push it in, might help a little bit. So let's try that. So let's fire it up and drag it out, but I have to pay a Ditch Witch tax every time I run the thing. For some reason, he absolutely, well, we all know why. He absolutely loves the Ditch Witch. We just come in the garage and we hang out, and he just does this.
What are you doing?
So as much as we want this thing out of the garage, we're both kind of sad because someone's gonna miss it. But I think you'll like the Model 40 too. Huh? Yeah. All right, you gonna start it up? The crowd control is just spewing oil. I was pushing the truck forwards, trying to get that to go in, so I think it's gonna be a fight. way easier. So, do you guys think this thing had any life left in it? Wow. That's like a world record sprocket. For your reference, this is what a new one looks like. That is better, but I don't know. I feel like this one's gonna be too long for the other one too. Alright, so this is kind of cool. So that's actually a cover for your grease zerk so you don't get dirt packed in there. And I would imagine, based on the operating conditions of this thing chews through quite a bit of grease. But wow, that feels nice. Alright, this bin's too long, so I'm not sure if there used to be more stuffage here or what. She's getting tight. There's a good chance all I'm doing is just pushing the grease out. Oh. Alright, so I don't really know what is in the end of this. Like, I don't know what I'm trying to get out, but that's very interesting. It's like a big piece of plastic bushing or something. So I looked in the end, and it's just like plastic in there that's just breaking up. So I'm just going to try and chip as much out as I can. Kind of wondering if I opened Pandora's box here. Maybe I should have just left it, but I would have had to have gotten this in anyways. That tail, I would have had to have gotten that in for the new chain because the old chain was obviously stretched. And the back's the only part that's been moving for me, not the front. So I don't really think I had an option. Noting too, I could not find a parts diagram, like a breakdown for this, so again, I have no idea what I'm looking at. I'm guessing that there's one more piece back there.
Oh no, there's not.
Is this the piece right here? Ah, this is our cylinder. Aha, right here. So it looks like this is just a cylinder that goes inside that square tube. And then in the end, this end here, there's a little bit of special packing. There's a rubber sleeve that goes around this, probably just to take the vibration that way. Then there was a big, some sort of nylon or plastic block that went down there. So I think what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna call the guys at Maverick tomorrow. I'm sure they probably recommend replacing this every time you do a new chain anyway, so I'll call them and see what they recommend. And we'll probably just get some parts on order. Shouldn't be too bad to put it back together, hopefully. It's like hard because I don't, like if I could put a 977 or a TD20 up against a Ditch Witch and I could do that stuff, put it up against a tree, whatever, you could probably mash it out, but I don't exactly live in the right spot for that. I don't have any tools here. And then generally I'm out here working when Luke's napping, and this is not a nap-conducing activity, so. Oh man, I want this thing done. Alright, so it's a week later. I finally got our parts. Got our spring. That's just like a bushing. Got our shorter pin, and then this is that grease cylinder. So down our barrel looks fine here. It's a little bit rusty, but the seal should do most of the work there. But this shaft up here, I did not like. That chrome is just destroyed. So I got a new shaft. It was like 110 bucks. The barrel itself was like another $200 maybe more. So I'm not replacing the barrel, but the new shaft should be a lot. Gonna go in. Nope. There she goes. The boom is pretty beat up. It's corroded inside, but I think I'll be okay. So you just stack this guy in. This bolt in the end here holds it all in. So the cylinder just basically hits against this. Alright, so now this is called your boom spring. So just like a spring in a dozer track that you give, and then they got this nice support here too. So this is just for our tail sprocket. Oh, come on. Put that guy in. This grease circuit right here is how we put the grease in that grease cylinder, and that tightens our chain, just like a bulldozer track. This is the chain. It's been sitting here on the pallet just in front of our house since I brought this down in December. It is now middle of March, so sorry Lisa, but today is the day.
tell you what, it's a lot nicer out a week ago. Alright, I had to take that out. I was just kind of being dumb. Grease that up real good, clean it up. And I made sure I got that in all the way. So now, we are much, much closer. I'm gonna do this one by hand. Oh, so close. Pure beef. Pure beef. Holy cow. Victory. I put the chain on backwards. Alright, so the chain goes this way and it drags the dirt out up to the auger as you're trenching. So I have it on this way. So there's really only like 26 paddles. So I think what I'm going to do is, what I would do is just take this off and flip it around. I guess I'll try and get that pin out quick. Let's see if that just comes right out. Already breaking stuff. I guess we'll just flip her around.
We got to put the upper boom on now, and for this, I need some muscle. You ready, little guy? It's your big debut. Show everyone the guns. No, just kidding. Mom is still gonna be the muscle for probably like 10 more years you got. She's a little cold-blooded. Clutch is sticky.
I'm not taking it off.
You gonna hold down the fort for a minute, little man? Lisa helped me lift this, but I forgot to hit record. All right. It's probably gonna hurt.
Do you need that bar thing? Hold on.
So I think all we gotta do, you want to just take his earmuffs out and put his hat back on?
It's okay like that. He just mean mugged me.
He's like, why is fresh air important? So we gotta set it on top of those bolts.
These?
Yeah,
Is that wide enough?
I believe so.
Doesn't look like it. Okay. Oh, Jesus.
Nope, so you're good. So can you lift that up now and just set it on there?
It got on my glove. God damn it. Okay, what?
Yeah, just set it. Yep, just set it right there. Okay, I got it now. I think. Just make sure your fingers aren't in there.
They're not.
Perfect. I'm caught on the chain. Hail. Whew. Okay, now what do we do? Looks like my bolts for here and here, so I gotta go back a little bit. You guys can go in if you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna take them inside.
Luke's cold.
It's freezing. Come on, dude.
Well, there she is. I think I'm gonna move this one back one. It looks like that's where it was supposed to be because when I raise this up too high it hits there. And then I also think it needs to just be angled down a little bit. Other than that, I gotta put gear oil in it. I'm sure there's something else, but as far as I'm concerned, she's pretty much done. So let's wrap it up. I think she's ready to trench. What do you guys think? Well, I think that's gonna be a wrap. I got a little punch list of things to do. I need to finish tightening the chain when I get some more grease for it. I need to grease up this idler. Auger's on, the auger looks good. I need to finish putting front and rear diff fluid in it. Those were low. I'm not sure why it's running a little punky. I'm not sure if I should replace the coil and the distributor since I replaced everything else, or if it's just a carburetor issue. I was looking right now. It looks like I might have a little crack in the carburetor there, so maybe I'll test her with the brake clean or whatever and see if it changes. Might give it a final wash and things like that. But as far as the video goes, I think it is time to wrap this one up. So I did get this for free, as you guys know, but I did put about $7,500 into it. So this has been a long road with this one. Took me probably a solid 4 months, 4.5 months in my spare time working on it. It really needed a lot. So just because it was a free Ditch Witch, what I really got was basically a good motor, a decent trans, I think, and 2 axles. A lot of the other stuff I really had to go through. So $7,500. The chain was probably about $3,000 and the boom, everything for that. And then just tires, plug wires, fluids, hydraulic cylinder stuff, hydraulic lines. It just really adds up, guys. The gearboxes. I mean, I went through it with this thing. It's hard in a project like this. There's a lot of ups and downs that you guys probably saw. When I'm tearing apart, when I'm struggling with it, I'm like, man, this is so stupid, but at this point now, it's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited to use it just because there's just nothing really like a vintage machine. And I think this thing's gonna rip. I think it's gonna be kind of a money maker, even though I probably won't work it too much, but I didn't put $7,500 into a machine with the intention of letting it sit, right? We gotta use this thing, and that's probably a good segue into, starting to use some of the stuff that I have laying around. I don't really plan on working in corporate America forever, hopefully. And if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna need like a stream of income from using machines, right? So this summer, I got a buddy that wants an electrical service trench just right local here. That should be a good test for it. Got another buddy up by my dad's that has maybe a 150-yard tile run he wants to do. My dad has, I think, 2 or 3 holes with irrigation mains he wants to put in. And then he's got some drain tiles he wants to run too. So we have quite a bit of work for it. And I think, it's March now. I think it's time to start letting her eat. So next time you guys see the Ditch Witch, which hopefully is in a couple weeks here, it'll be working. I'm gonna put it to the test and we're gonna see if we can kind of get some of the $7,500 out of it, right? So thanks for watching, guys. I'm gonna get to work on this punch list. And then for those of you that are really curious, this is the 3306 out of 977 number 1. So as of today, March 10th, oil cooler's on, water pump is on, oil pan is on. So the next thing for me to do on this is flip it over. We'll put the head on and we'll keep dressing her out. That should be the next project that's done in this garage, hopefully in a couple of weeks, honestly. Then after that, I think we might bring the Model 40 down. It's been long overdue to work on that. So thanks for watching, guys. If you guys are new here, make sure you stick around, watch a video or two. I'm going to probably relax the rest of the day. It's been a long road with this thing, but I'm excited. It's gonna be cool. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one. I know there's a lot of ups and downs and whatever, but man, there's just nothing quite like a vintage machine. I mean, I didn't even paint it. It just looks cool. Just the way it is. Definitely do want to get 2 new ribs and tires for the other side, but we'll probably make her buy those. Yeah, she looks cool. Every time you're going through it and you're frustrated or whatnot, then you get to this point and you're like, dang, that's cool. I want to do that again. So let's do it again.